everyone, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Nina. I help people to declutter their minds and their homes using practical applications of psychology. And I have found that in the process of getting to the root of clutter issues, that there's a lot of introspection that really has to take place. And today is just one of those days where we're going to need to be brutally honest with ourselves. So let me know if this sounds familiar. You finally decided that it is time to clean up, to get organized, and to declutter. So you read countless blogs about it. You watched the entire Marie Kondo Netflix series on how to declutter. And then you found 100 pictures on Pinterest of what you want your space to eventually look like. You've talked about it extensively with all your friends. You have maybe even bought some bins and different organizational supplies. You have thoroughly and extensively prepared in every single way possible. Yet you have done absolutely nothing in the way of actually cleaning up and decluttering. The place is still a complete mess. You are still completely overwhelmed by your clutter, and you've started to lose hope that you will ever make progress in this area because you feel like you have given it so much emotional energy with really nothing to show for it, which is exactly what has happened, but not because you are hopeless, but only because you are engaging in a phenomenon that I am entirely too familiar with myself, that is called action faking. It is a very sneaky form of procrastination because it makes us feel like we are doing something, like we are putting in the work to achieve our goal, when really we are just doing things that are related to the goal that we are comfortable with and not really taking part in any of the actions that are going to truly make a difference. So what exactly is action faking? Well, this is a term that was coined by author MJ Demarco, and he describes it as taking only the uncommitted actions and avoiding what is truly necessary in the critical path to our goal. It usually involves a lot of planning and a lot of overanalyzing, but taking very few, if any, actions that will lead to actual progress. So an example might be buying some exercise equipment and then never using it, or getting a gym membership and then never actually going to the gym. We may do the easy things, the fun stuff that could be somewhat necessary, but usually what is truly meaningful is what gets ignored. Now, I do have an entire video that explains this phenomenon in great detail, so I will go ahead and link that down below just in case you want to understand it on a deeper level. But if we do feel like this does describe our behavior, then there are actually some very simple things that we can do to overcome it and to finally clean up. And really the first thing that we need to do is figure out why we are action faking. There's always a reason behind what we do and what we don't do. So we have to ask ourselves specifically, what are we trying to avoid? And once we do that, we then have to actually address that issue, because if we don't, we are always going to find clever ways to procrastinate and to avoid the task, because there is something about it that does make us uncomfortable. Clearly, somewhere along the line, we decided that there is some kind of suffering that is attached to cleaning and decluttering, whether it be feeling anxious about letting things go, or secretly not really wanting to put the time or energy that it will take to get the job done into the task, or simply not feeling or not believing that we are truly capable of becoming clean or organized. I know in my own case, I actually struggled with all three of these things, and if you feel like you need a little bit of help trying to figure out what the potential issues are for you, I do have an entire playlist on clutter solutions and psychology that you may find insightful. I will go ahead and link that down in the description box as well. But it is important that we sit down with ourselves and that we are truly honest if we are going to make progress. Once we understand what we are avoiding and why we've been trying to push this away, we can actively work on giving ourselves the self-love and the self-compassion that we need to work on these issues. But we also have to understand that it is still possible to be a little uncomfortable about cleaning and decluttering, yet still make actual progress. We may never feel completely ready or completely prepared, and that is okay. We just have to take a step forward. And this time we just have to make sure that it is a real step. We simply can't endlessly prepare if we want real results. And it's not realistic to think that everything in our life can wait for us to feel that we are fully ready for the experience. Sometimes we just have to dive in anyway and take that first step that we have been avoiding for so long. And there are two things that we can do that can really help us in this process. Number one is to simply decide what your first real action is going to be. Schedule it and then actually do it. And it doesn't have to be something crazy. It doesn't have to be something that terrifies you. It just has to be one small step. So we could start by just cleaning out a singular bathroom drawer, or just decluttering towels that are scratchy, that have bleach stains on them. It does not have to be all or nothing. We have to remember that we can go about cleaning and decluttering in a way that does not make us anxious. So often we forget that we are always going to be in control of the situation. We're not going to let ourselves declutter things that are meaningful to us, or force ourselves to scrub the floors for hours and hours and hours. We can simply decide on a realistic action that we can begin with, commit to a time that we are going to actually do it in, make sure it's not too far in the future, the sooner the better, and then just put on some music or put on your favorite podcast and actually get it done. Once we start taking action, you will see, and I promise you this, that cleaning and decluttering are not the big scary things that we have made them out to be. It's the avoidance that creates the anxiety. It makes these things seem like mountains in front of us. But as long as we are setting realistic goals, there is absolutely no reason to believe that we are not going to be able to reach them. And there is one more thing that I have found to be helpful for people who are prone to action faking. And that is to make sure that we have some kind of accountability and that we are offering ourselves rewards when we follow through. So as far as accountability, maybe we just tell a friend what we plan to accomplish that day and ask her to, call and check in and make sure that we really did get this stuff done. And as far as a reward, just think of something that you could treat yourself to when you get this stuff accomplished. So probably not something that you have to buy. We have enough stuff already. But something that you would really enjoy, like a cozy movie night or maybe a wonderful bubble bath. These things really do make a difference when we are asking ourselves to do things that we haven't done in a while or that do make us uncomfortable. And if action faking does sound incredibly familiar, please do not be hard on yourself. This is something that I was completely guilty of for years. But once I really understood what I was doing and why I was doing it, I was able to completely change my behavior. And I know that it's possible for you to do the same. So as always, I truly hope you found today's video to be helpful and insightful. If you did, please like it, share it, and definitely become a subscriber. This is a topic that I cover very frequently on this channel because I have been there and I know the struggle is real. So I like to provide as much support as humanly possible. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I hope the rest of your day is extraordinary.